The first thing you need to know when you're tuning an instrument, a stringed instrument, is you need to know what the strings are supposed to be, what they're supposed to sound like, whether it's a C, D, or E, or A, and then the second thing you need to know is how those notes sound. So the easiest way that I've found to tune an instrument is with a tuning pipe, and you can buy an electronic version of this, or you can use the simple blowing version of a tuning pipe. The nice thing about a tuning pipe is it gives you both of these pieces of information in one piece. So this pipe that says violin on it gives me the information of what my strings are supposed to sound like, so what these 4 strings are, and it also shows me what they sound like if I blow into it. So using this, I know what my strings are called, and I also know how they sound. And when you're tuning a violin, it goes a little bit like this. We'll do the E string. So you see I had the tuning pipe in my mouth as I was listening to the sound, and I blow the sound, and I compare it to the note on the string, and as I'm doing that I'm turning the knob to make the string tighter, because making the string tighter makes the note go up, higher, and making the string looser makes the note go down, lower. So that's how you do it on the violin, and you do all the strings that way. And then on the guitar, it's the same thing, and you notice how a pitch pipe for each instrument looks differently. So the violin, the easy thing about using these pitch pipes is the violin only has the pitches for the violin on it, so it's not confusing. The pitch pipe for the guitar only has the pitches for the guitar on it. And it's the same thing that you do with the guitar when you're tuning the guitar. You compare the sound of your string to the sound on the pitch pipe. And you see if it's in tune or not, and then you tighten it to make it higher, and you loosen it to make it lower. Now these pitch pipes are very useful, and like I said, you can get an electronic version that will actually turn on a light when you get the right pitch, so you don't have to hear it with your ears. There are pitch pipes for pentatonic harps, and these are wonderful. I don't have one yet, so I'm going to use this to my advantage here making this film, because I also want to show you another method of tuning your instruments. Another method of tuning your stringed instruments is to know what strings are on your instrument, and then to use another instrument that's in that tune to tune them. So you can use the piano keys to tune your instrument. So in this case I'm going to use my xylophone, and this is a very old xylophone. It's a very beautiful and well-made, nice wooden one, but because it's so old and it's been around for so many years, we've made some markings on it and has scratches on it. And what I've done is I have circled the pentatonic keys here, so that it's easy for the children or for I to know how to tune it. In the pentatonic scale, you do not have a C or an F, and the pentatonic scale goes like this. And this is how we're going to tune our harp. So I'm going to set the xylophone down on the floor, and I'm going to get in our basket here and get my harp key. Now the thing about harps, I have a few different kinds of harps, is that, hello kitty, you want to be in every video I make. He wants to be famous, but I don't think he can help me with this video. So the thing about harps is that you can't just twist a knob like you can on the violin and the guitar. With the harps you need to have a tuning key, and if you lose this you can always order one online or get one from a music store. This one actually came with another one of my harps, a bigger harp, and it actually works for the smaller harp too. So we're going to tune this harp. As you can see, this is how it's supposed to sound. Oops. And this is how it really sounds. So that's pretty out of tune. But the good news is, and this is something I want to share with everyone who's tuning their pentatonic harp, the good news is that when you actually go to the effort of tuning a harp, especially a pentatonic harp like this, once you tune it, it actually stays in tune for a few weeks and sometimes up to 4 or 5 weeks depending on how frequently you're playing it. Whereas if you're tuning a violin or a guitar, you have to tune those every single time you play them. So once you've made the effort to tune your pentatonic harp, it's well worth the effort, because once you tune it, it will stay in tune for a very long time. As I was tuning the harp here, we got a little broken string, and that reminds me of another very important thing. I need to show you how to restring the harp. But we're going to go ahead and tune the instrument. I always like to start from the lowest note on the instrument, and I'm not sure why this is. It's probably just the way I learned. And the nice thing about using the harp, or the nice thing about using the xylophone to tune the harp, is that there's a correspondence here in that the larger note on the harp is also the lower note. So you see how it goes? And the smaller note, the smaller shaped note, is a higher note. And the same thing happens on the harp. So the larger string here, this longer string, is the lower note, and the smaller string is the highest note on the harp. But we're going to start by doing the D on here. And I think I'll set this down so it gives me a better sound. That's our D, and we want to make the D on this as well. That sounds pretty close. We'll go on to the next one, which is the E, and you can see I'm still using this to hit my xylophone. And as I mentioned earlier, when you tune the string tighter, it makes it higher, and when you loosen the string, it makes it a lower note. Okay, now we're going to go into the G, and the G on the xylophone sounds like this. Still a little bit low. Sounds pretty good. Now we'll do the A. Sounds pretty good too. We'll do the B. As you can tell, it takes longer to tune some strings than others, and that's why I'm just showing you my whole tuning process, because also you can see that sometimes it's easier for me to hear the notes, and sometimes I have a hard time finding if it's on tune or not. So whereas G and A, I just tuned them right away and they were right on key. I just sort of made a lucky turn with the wrench here. But a couple of the other notes I struggled with a bit. And that's another thing, is that some days you may try to tune your instrument and you may be hearing everything just perfectly and the tuning will go really quickly. And other days when you go to tune it, you could just struggle, and some days I've taken, this was a long time ago, some days I've taken a half hour to tune an instrument. But what I've learned from that is that if you're having a day, maybe you have a cold, maybe there's something going on with your ears, maybe there's just something that's going on where you're not hearing the notes easily, and I find that the best thing to do on those days is just wait until another day to tune the instrument, or wait a little while to tune the instrument, perhaps eat something first, or take a walk first, or play a little bit with the other instruments first, to get yourself warmed up to tuning. So we've tuned the instrument, the D, the E, the G, the A, and the B.